Is Kawhi going to be, by the end of his career, the best player to ever not win a regular season MVP?
That's a hard question because I can't think of a lot of people who did not win. Like I can't think of like who would be that person who didn't win.
Mm-hmm.
But he got to be up there, bro.
I mean, he gonna have all these Finals MVPs, all these All-Star games, all these Defensive Player of the Years, all these championships, and I could easily see, because in my opinion, he's been the best player in the league for like the last couple of years. I can easily see him just not winning MVP though, because he's just all around great, but like to get the MVP, like you just have to have like a phenomenal one season. You know what I mean? There's always gonna be that person that has like a phenomenal one season or whatever it is. That numbers just jump out the roof. You know what I mean? But he's just elite at everything. So his numbers don't stand out like that. You know, like a Giannis is gonna get a lot of points in the paint. Giannis gonna get crazy rebounds, all that kind of stuff. But Kawhi, being the person that we just said, is the one. Is a guy who will do what the team needs to do to win the game and to win the championship. Those numbers and the thing or when you go about that, the numbers that you're gonna get won't be MVP type numbers. So I could easily see him not getting MVP ever.
Yeah, I think he won't get MVP because he doesn't play enough games. Like the most games he's ever played was 74, but he's only ever played more than 67 games twice in his career. And that was the last two. That was between the last two healthy seasons that he had in San Antonio. Like everything else, he's like, no, I'm not playing that much.
He's the most diva ever. Like he a D, like he got diva antics, but like divas are usually like all over the place, super emotional, super facial. And this man is not that, but like the way he goes about playing, like, yeah, I'm not gonna play today. Like you a diva, dog. Like that's nuts.
Is that diva antics or is that just knowing your body?
I feel like that's diva antics because he doesn't push his body enough to know his body.
I don't know, bro. Like they even like he looked hurt at the beginning of the season from like the playoffs. So
when he was leaving San Antonio, it was like issues with like the health, the athletic trainers, things like that for San Antonio, right?
Yeah, like he didn't really trust him or whatever.
He didn't really trust him, all that kind of stuff. Which, outside of the Patriots, and even more the Patriots, you could argue, the San Antonio Spurs have like the quote unquote classiest, right, of like organizations. And I'm only, like from top to bottom, you don't hear nothing about their whole entire. You never heard anything bad about them. Literally since the Iceman all the way to Tim Duncan, you know what I mean? Like you just never heard anything bad about them. And then all of a sudden Kawhi don't trust him. So I was always curious, like what happened there? Was Kawhi like already feeling himself behind the scenes? So he was just like, I don't need to play more. You know what I mean? Like which is a diva antic. So like, I really think he's just a diva, and like he puts on a straight face for like the crowd or like the public, so no one can tell. But I'm pretty sure he a real housewife.
But we haven't heard a single story about that though. Like I feel he's been in the league 9 years, bro. Something would have got out. Like something.
Yeah, something would have got out. You're right, but it's not like something would have. Okay, something would have come out, but I think it's two things. One, he's just not interesting. like you want spicy things to come out about interesting people, not about dudes who just gonna be like, I mean, that's my business. Respect that, and that's the whole answer. You know what I mean? Like that's just not it.
Bro,
and then I
haven't.
Say it again?
But like, no, I'm just like, but the thing is, if something like that came out about Kawhi, though, everyone would talk about it because you don't see him do anything, right? So like that contrast would get people's attention at least for a little bit.
Look, and don't forget about when they had fake Kawhi in the strip club, and everybody was like, that was a news story for like a solid 3 weeks because it's just hilarious, bro.
Why is it hilarious that any basketball player go to the strip club? We've been knowing that's like they battling ground for years.
But he's a robot. Robots don't go to strip clubs.
He not a okay. Granted, you know what? You heard the story about why he is the way he is, all right?
I know the story, and that's sad. I don't want to
It's
bring
very
it
sad.
Okay, I'm gonna ask y'all about this like often.
Wait, what?
I mean, it's
I actually
like,
don't know. I don't know the story.
Yeah, Alan, tell the story.
You're
I'll tell you.
trying to make me the bad guy.
We can
He's fine.
we can.
He was
Hmm?
so supposedly. So like his dad was the owner of a car wash in L.A. And then Kawhi was just your average like personality wise, just your average guy. And then his dad got killed because somebody tried to rob him, all kind of stuff. And then after that, Kawhi, like personality wise, has been like really like under the radar ever since. Like so, like this is also Bleacher Report. I didn't check the source outside of that, so like, but it sounded good, so I kind of went with it because I kind of like an urban myth or urban legend. So like, I didn't check the sources on this one. I was like, if it's not true, that's still a good reason to be like, this is why Kawhi is this way. You know what I mean? But that's supposedly the story.
I mean, but if you like, I'm a nerd and I love high school basketball. I like the Ball is Life podcast. They'll have like the coaches, like the people who coach like a lot of the NBA superstars. Apparently, that like Kawhi's coach was like, yeah, you could. It was a noticeable difference.
Understandably too, right?
Yeah.
Like
super.
Yeah,
Super.
but yeah, Kawhi different. Like Kawhi is going to go down. Like if you're like once again, you're right. He doesn't play enough games, so he probably won't win MVP because that's gonna be like those nerdy journalists are gonna use that against him, whatever. Even though he's the best player in the league, you're gonna use that against him. He will be the best player to never win the MVP because all the players I can think of won some type of MVP. But then you got like the Rick Barrys and you got those kind of dudes who like average the numbers of Kobe Bryant who didn't win MVP. You know what I mean? Like dudes from like the 70s and like the early 80s. But then like the MVP like starts like getting more scarce. Like the MVP not scarce. Scarce and like only a few people win it. You know what I mean? Like LeBron, Larry Bird. Only like the all time legends win it after like over a certain year. And then Kawhi is going to be an all-time great player. All-time great, but never win MVP, which is kind of sad, but I also don't think he cares, so why should I care?
Yeah. So I found a list from Basketball Network, and they got the 10 greatest players to never win. Dominique Wilkins, John Stockton, Clyde Drexler, Jason Kidd, Patrick Ewing, Isaiah Thomas, Elgin Baylor, Elvin Hayes, John Havlicek, Jerry West. I didn't see most of them play because I'm not 100 years old, but Kawhi might be the best. He might not have the numbers, but he might be the best.
I would have thought that Elgin Baylor would have had one, but
okay, go by
the other, but like Ewing and Drexler and them, that makes sense though because they were playing with Jordan.
Yeah.
All right, go through them one more time, but like one by one.
Okay. And Bleacher Report made one too, so we'll see what's up with that one. But at 10 they got Dominique Wilkins.
I mean, obviously, Dominique was like known for like one thing his whole career was the dunk, but
I mean that's a legacy thing, but Dominique was nice.
Yeah, he was nice, but like he also didn't win.
The numbers to prove that he was also nice.
No, he was
in that era, nobody won except Jordan.
Exactly.
Like once they really got going, and like Elijah won that one year, like Jordan wasn't playing.
But Charles won a MVP. Karl Malone won an MVP. You know what I mean? Like Jordan didn't win all the MVPs; he just won all the championships.
And pretty much all the scoring titles.
Yeah. Jordan got what, 6 MVPs? Like
too many.
On like 14-year career? Like, oh no. He won most of the MVPs.
Man, that's less than half. Continue.
Yeah. John Stockton.
John Stockton, you can make an argument is the best white American to ever play basketball, But if you look at his numbers, everything's under like 10 points, 10 assists, 10 rebounds. Everything's under that for a career.
I
Oh, that's
I'm
longevity.
pretty sure the assist is wrong, isn't it? I feel like the assist. Hold on. I gotta go and look it up.
Yeah.
I think the assist is up there. I think he might average
Yeah.
like 12 a career, bro.
Yeah, I think I think he's the highest average in the like of anyone like over a career.
If
Over
he doesn't
his
have
career, it's
highs-
10.5 a game.
What'd you say?
Over his career, it's 10.5 a game. That's it.
And he's all time. Look, and he's first in steals, first in assists. But like the
He's
like
not
second
gonna
place, no one's gonna catch him. The second places behind those two stats are like so far back, it's like a little obnoxious. But yeah, but like no, Kawhi's in a way better than this man right here.
Yeah.
All right, who's next?
And by the way, just like a side note, Magic Johnson has a career high of 11.2. I think that's the highest in NBA history. Number 8, Clyde Drexler.
I mean, he just happened to play the same position as Jordan. Like his numbers are good for a career, but like he's a shooting guard during the time Michael Jordan was playing. So he's not gonna win on neither. But I think, but Kawhi is a better defender than him, which like puts that over the top. All right, go.
And then number 7, Jason Kidd.
Jason Kidd doesn't get the respect due since he started coaching. But I'm not gonna say Kawhi is better than Jason Kidd as a basketball player, but Jason Kidd career stats at this point are like ridiculous. You know what I mean? So like that's like a wait until the end kind of thing. But Kawhi was a better winner than him. But Jason Kidd did take the Nets to the finals twice, so that's a championship in its own right.
All I gotta say on that one is I think Kawhi is never, like, of all the people on this list, I don't think Kawhi is ever going to like amass the numbers, like the total numbers, where we would look at him in the same light we're going to look at them. Like Kawhi is probably going to be one of those dudes that go down in history where it's like, if you saw him, you know. Number 6 is Patrick Ewing.
We don't even argue about that. He a Nick. Come on now.
Isaiah Thomas.
Isaiah Thomas. People argue Isaiah Thomas like a top 3 point guard of all time. So like that hit. Ooh, that's tough right there. I'm not gonna lie to you. That's tough.
I think it's close.
It's close, but granted, Kawhi is like 28, 29, so like he got time. You know what I mean? But it's already close, which is wild in itself.
Yeah. Elgin Baylor.
I honestly don't know enough about Elgin Baylor's stats, or I just know he played for the Lakers, right?
Elgin Baylor's numbers are stupid. His career average is 27 a game, 13.5 rebounds, 4 steals.
No, 4.3 assists.
Oh, my bad. 4.3 steals. I mean assists.
Assists.
Look at that rock. I know Elgin Baylor's like legacy, but like I feel like if you were a guy who like lived and watched basketball when Elgin Baylor played, you're like, he's the most underrated player. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like Elgin Baylor is gonna. I feel like Kawhi could end up as one of those Elgin Baylor guys. That makes sense.
Yeah. The only reason why Elgin Baylor never won is because Bill Russell won 5 MVPs during that time, and Wilt Chamberlain won 4. So
that sucks.
you like the greatest team of all time versus like an unstoppable force at the time. I mean, probably like in history. So like, kind of hard. Number 3 is Elvin Hayes.
Once again, I think that's the same boat for me. What are his stats?
Go
ahead, Calvin.
All right. Over his career, he averaged 21 points, 12.5 rebounds, 1.8 assists, 1 steal, 2 blocks.
Kawhi gonna average at least 2 assists, so he good. That's 1.8 assists. That's nothing. Wow, that's like you could make a mistake and get 2 assists a game. That's nuts. That's like so low for a player that like is like an all-time great legend.
Yeah.
All
I mean,
right,
he's also listed as a power forward or center, so
Yeah.
it
still
makes sense.
have to back out to the shooter or something. You know what I mean? But man, that's nothing. All right, go. All right, who's next?
John Havlicek.
Oh yeah, pass it up. He played against a bunch of short Jewish guys. Like, come on now.
I mean, so did Elgin Baylor.
But
I,
Elgin Baylor was a bucket though. He's like if you watch it, but Elgin Baylor was like not. If you like watch the footage of them, have the check is like, ooh, he good. But Elgin Baylor like was like notably like nice.
Yeah.
but like that was the same era as like Russell and Chamberlain and Baylor and a lot of other dudes. So
What were Havlicek's numbers? Let me give this man a little bit of credit.
all right, over his career, he averaged 20.8 points, 6.3 rebounds, 4.8 assists, 1.2 steals.
Yeah, his numbers even help. Nah, Kawhi gonna be better than that and everything.
And also, for the record, he played with Russell. So
Oh, so
yeah,
he had like all them championships.
Yeah.
yeah, he's got 8.
And
Yeah.
he also had like a crazy 4-season stretch where he was averaging 26, 8, and 7.
Against John, who did construction on the weekends, and come on now. Like he's playing with the best player, you know what I mean? Or one of the best players. Like whatever. Like if you playing against are you playing with a center who is Bill Russell, who averaging like numbers that like I can't even comprehend right now. Like you better be able to score off him if you're even kind of nice. You know what I mean? But wasn't their coach Red Auerbach?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, all right.
And then number 1 is Jerry West.
I mean the logo. I mean, what are Jerry West's numbers for career?
His numbers: 27 a game, 5.8 rebounds, 6.7 assists, and
That
like
sounds
2.6 steals. The one season he was around while they counted them.
that sounds like Kawhi like numbers. I'm not gonna lie to you. Like around what Kawhi could average. What's Kawhi averaging right now actually for career?
You said Kawhi?
Yeah.
18.7.
You know what's funny though? Kawhi's averaging 18.7 per game, but like if you take away those like first couple years in San Antonio, where like he played a little bit, then the next year he played a decent amount, and then he was just the defensive guy. You take away those first like 2 or 3 years, he's averaging 25.
Actually,
No,
No, he's not. He's averaging like 20. Right?
It's like 22.
yeah.
If you just take away the first 2, like if you take away the first 4, then we're looking at
Kawhi really. Would you rather be like Kawhi really about to be that player? Like man, you had to see him though. Like you had to see this guy. He was nice. Like he gonna end up. That's gonna be his legacy. Like
Yeah.
I wonder if that's upsetting. You know what I mean? Like
Not to him.
obviously, right? Because he's still got LeBron over here sweating when he got to guard him, and he over here doing his thing. You know what I mean? Like in the moment, but like what a weird legacy to have, to be that guy that you had to see to know you're nice instead of like everybody knowing you're nice.
I mean, I feel like there are probably a decent number of them dudes,
Yeah.
like over the course of the league, though.
That happens to like what? Outside of like the top 5 guys in the era, like everybody else is almost on that you had to see type stuff.
Yeah.
Especially
That's
as you're farther away.
but like Kawhi's like so different though, because he's gonna have won a good amount of championships. Like he's gonna be a championship best in the league player. That's about. All the rest of these guys didn't win the championships that Kawhi's gonna win. They're not gonna win, they're not gonna be as good or the best player in the league at a time like Kawhi is. But Kawhi is going to be one of those players, even though he's the best in the league. Which I find, like an anomaly. Like I think the rest of those guys don't have those stats, if that makes sense.
But like but what Kawhi has in common with all of them is like there's a dude who's generally considered better. Like you're kind of not when people say best player in the league as a collective, people don't think Kawhi at the moment. Now, like I could be wrong and maybe like I've just missed something. But when they think best player in the NBA, people tend to think like LeBron. They might think Giannis, but they as a collective for like the better part of the last decade or so, it's been LeBron, no question.
Yeah,
It and like it's
that is
that,
true.
yeah.
That is true. I genuinely think like if you're still saying like I genuinely think if you're still saying LeBron right now, then like you're like just riding the wave of like what LeBron has been for the last 15 years, whatever it's been. You know what I mean? Like, well, I don't know, but I personally have been making the argument that Kawhi is the best player in the league literally since he got his ankle hurt from Zaza. So like ever since then, that's always been a thought.
I mean, it's one of the things like it might well be true, but it's also true that like while he might be the best player in the league at the moment, like no one's gonna be like he's the greatest player in the league at the moment. Like we all know who that is.
But like most people don't know basketball. If we can agree to that, like most people will say things, but most people will also be wrong because they literally just listen to what ESPN tells them to think. Like Stephen A. said it, so it must be right. You know what I mean? It's like that's how most people think about not that like everything, not that like goes outside of sports. But when it comes to sports, they just listen to what people are talking about, or what like ESPN or Fox Sports One says. Most people don't really know basketball, but the people who really know basketball, it's more of it's not as like who's the best in the league right now. It's not a definitive thought as like it was when LeBron was, you know, early the second time Cleveland and Miami Heat and the Cleveland before that. Like in the last like 2-3 years, it's been up in the air, especially when he left Cleveland to go to LA.
That's
Oh,
fair.